Yeah, I know you heard of us.
Yeah.
And I know you heard of me.
Huh?
Also, you heard of
What's
us.
going on, y'all?
Yeah.
Welcome
Hey, but
back
you
to
ain't heard
another
of me.
episode of Four Guys in the Mic. All right, I am Justin. We also have Josh.
Hey, squad.
We got Brian.
What's up, y'all?
We also got Silver.
Y'all.
All right, so it's just the four of us again, and yeah. So if you guys enjoyed the content, why don't you guys subscribe? We're gonna have this on. I think a lot of the podcast streaming apps, places, wherever. Maybe on YouTube, and you never know. But if it is, definitely subscribe. Give us a rating. All right, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy our conversations. But we're gonna get straight into the thing, and on the first segment, all right, we're gonna start with our first segment, and our first segment is always gonna be, "What did I peep?" And the purpose of this segment is a lot of things happen in life, or a lot of things happen in a week, even in a day, to be honest. But we're just going throughout our week, just reviewing what happened through the week, and we're just gonna just talk about something interesting that we saw. So I'm gonna hand it off to Brian. So Brian, what did you peep this week?
What did I peep? This is something that I think everyone is pretty much peeped by this point, but I believe yesterday I saw in the news. Well, first someone had sent it. Oh, Josh had sent it up on a group chat that we're in about Chadwick Boseman. Did I say it correctly? Um, and him dying, and the the crazy thing, he was like 43 years old, and just to die so young, and um it's sad. It's sad to see someone that young to pass away. And what was very interesting, I remember a couple months ago, I think during March, or when Corona was really hot, when the talk of Corona, lockdown, and things of that nature, I think he was on an interview, and he was like, or interview, or they had a photo of him or something, and they said he had lost a lot of weight, and they were actually speculating whether or not he had corona, or either they were speculating whether he had corona or if he was getting ready for a movie role. And like, so when I saw that, I was like, I kind of connected the two, and I was like, oh wow, like a couple months ago they showed him like having lost a lot of weight, like he looked sick. So I think he had been sick for some time, but I know like the photos that are circulating are photos of when he's on like the red carpet and things of that nature, not recent ones. So I just found that very interesting that I think he had been sick for some time now. Just, and then the fact that he's dead now is very, it's very sad. Very Black Panther was a really great movie. Um, it was, I think, top 10 Marvel movies, cinematic movies. Even though Silbert would disagree.
Disagreed.
That's not this episode. We're not disagreeing on that. Today's episode on that.
Yeah, but it was definitely a madness. Like, I saw it and I was just like, wow, that's I mean, yeah, it definitely shocked me. And I was just like, geez, he was pretty young, to be honest. I think I was thinking of it more so from I guess a medical standpoint. And so obviously some people, or everybody should know that he died by colon cancer.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the I don't want to say deadliest, but it's definitely hard to fight against. And I was just like, geez, like, and I was looking up like the symptoms and how to cure it, and it's just hard to. It's one of the hardest cancers to like treat, and hopefully like help the person survive, because the symptoms are just it's not obvious. It's not like you have the flu and you have obvious symptoms, or you have coronavirus and you have obvious symptoms. And so colon cancer is just different. And because the colon is inside, it's an internal organ, it's very hidden. It's very hard to distinguish if you have it or not. So I was just like, wow, it's crazy how cancer is taking the lives of not just his but many lives. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it adds a bit of mortality to us all. Like first it was Kobe, and then Kobe what Kobe had and what Chadwick had, especially with Black Panther role, is like we somewhat view them as heroes, especially starting with Kobe, of course, you know, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And Chadwick Boseman, his role in Black Panther, even other movies, like he played a lot of biographical movies, Jackie Robinson, Thurgood Marshall, the James Brown movie, and so on and so forth. So like even he even made a quick cameo in the movie The Express. I want to say it wasn't Ernie Davis. I forgot who the other running back was, what his role was in the movie, but it adds some somewhat mortality to us as far as like no matter how big and strong our heroes may be, is that we're all human, and that one day that we will leave this earth. So like, yeah, it's just so open to think like we are on this planet for a short amount of time. So that's what kind of brought it to my attention. I thought about it.
Yeah, I just want to back up really quickly and just point something out. I swear, biology majors are the only people who would do who see someone die and like, can someone cure this? Like I wonder, you know, what are the chemicals? You know, what's the background? You know,
right.
you know, Justin's a biology major for all those who are listening, or he was a biology major. So that's a shout out to bio majors.
What do you think about it, Josh?
Literally, when I saw that, the first thing that popped into my mind was like, "Dang, this is not gonna be Black Panther 2," you know, and like, of course, I'm saddened, you know, by you know, of course, someone lost their life, and you know, of course, you know, someone who was held up in esteem, you know, for someone who helped move the way for Black culture in our generation.
Even with that, my fault. Even with that, people making fun of him losing weight, like, because I heard someone say they thought he might have been on drugs or anything like that. Like, we have to be. The thing that I don't like about the social media age is like we have so many keyboard thugs. You wouldn't dare say this stuff. You wouldn't dare say this to a man's face, but you feel so comfortable behind the keyboard, and so yeah. Then also like you never know the cause of someone's reason of physical health. And so for all those who say he might have been on drugs or this and that, like you look pretty foolish right now. And I hope you're pretty, you know, I hope you learn your lesson as far as like be quick to cast judgments on someone. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I really hope, you know, I pray for his family and like people that are close to him. Really pray that they get through, and everybody in the world that's affected by this. I pray that, you know, we all get through this. So yeah. But on the point of social media that Silver just mentioned, we are going to talk a little bit about that, and so we're actually going to get straight into the main topic of the day. As you should know from the title of the podcast, we're going to talk about life in as Generation Z. All right, so most of our life, or most of the life that we're going to talk about for Generation Z, is from, you know, obviously when we're born in the 90s until like 2009-ish. And also we're going to talk about life in Gen Alpha. All right, and so that's from 2010 and beyond. So we're going to be comparing the two. We're going to be talking about different things. Most of the stuff that we're going to be talking about are in the categories of social media, cartoons, music, technology, and games. All right, so we're going to be talking about those things. All right, and yeah, I think it should be fun, and I think we'll have a lot of things to debate about. So I guess I'm just going to propose a question, and anyone can actually. I'm going to start with Brian, just so that, you know, we have uniformity, and anyone can chime in after Brian. And so Brian, I guess we're going to start off in Gen Z, so our life. All right, since we're in Gen Z, what were some things that you saw about, maybe, let's start with technology.
Technology. Oh man. Things that technology, I know one thing was so yeah, the thing with technology, man, like I know like the iPhone the iPhone released in 2007, and that was before the 2010s, and that was really a big thing, especially when it came to touch screens. I mean, when it came to smartphones, and um, but technology in the 2000s. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of frustrated to a degree with technology in the 2000s. Um, Things weren't moving as fast as I would like. Things were still kind of slow.
Wait, in
Uh,
contentment.
I mean, you could say contentment, man, but I don't know, man. Uh, uh, I did. Oh man, iPod Touch. iPod Touch to me was like the best thing ever. iPod Touch. I think everybody had an iPod Touch at some point.
Yeah, that joint
I
was
did.
lit.
Huh?
I didn't.
You did it?
Hey, you know what's punished? I had a Zoom.
Zune?
What?
No. But a Zune is
Yeah.
cool though. If it came to music, a Zune was cool because I had a cousin that had a Zune, and he used to always tell me like, "Man, you on that Apple stuff? Like, get a Zune." You know, lo and behold, like no one's really touching iPod Touch. You know, Apple.
Wait, the MP3 though.
Yeah.
No.
Back in the day, MP3, there were a lot of great MP3s. I think iPod Touch was
Just
just
lit.
the first touchscreen phone with a dedicated app store, play music. Like it was everything. Like low key
Jailbreaking.
jailbreaking. Like if you had an iPod Touch, you low key had like you can make that junk
Second phone.
Hey,
I
y'all
used
remember?
to try to use that junk as a phone.
Hey, y'all remember LimeWire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, bro. It's a good thing. Like, if the FBI or someone in police would check how much music I stole back then, bro, I'd have been in jail to this day.
I don't
So
think
many.
anyone got their music. I don't say anyone, but I think there's only a few people who did not got their music legally.
Think
To be
about it.
honest.
Think about it. Now, in like Generation Alpha, all of them are used to streaming.
Yeah.
And honestly, nowadays you could just type the song in, find your websites, and download the songs you want.
Yeah.
I used to use a couple sites, but back in the day, for us, it was LimeWire, FrostWire. Boy, that thing used to make your computer so slow.
YouTube
After
download.
2 months, use that junk for 2 months consistently. Your computer is slowing down. And you know the funny thing about LimeWire, bro? You know who the most downloaded artist was on LimeWire?
Wayne,
Oh,
Soldier
Wayne.
Boy.
Lil Wayne.
He's
Lil Wayne was the most downloaded artist on LimeWire. Everybody went to
Yeah.
download the Lil Wayne song.
You could find that out. Actually did not know that.
Yeah, it was. It was like the most
That's
downloaded. Like,
interesting.
Lil Wayne was that because when LimeWire was hot, Lil Wayne was like
He was.
The
at the
hottest.
top of his career. So it's like everybody.
Oh,
was
and
like, shit.
Rapzilla too, bruh. People used to get their music from Rapzilla.
Rapzilla.
Did y'all use uTorrent? Like it's called
No.
uTorrent.
Yeah, I used to use uTorrent sometimes.
Yeah.
No. You did you guys ever use this is the back in the day joint. Napster?
Yeah, I used to Napster as well.
Nah.
Napster was lit.
Napster was tough.
I don't know. LimeWire was a thing, bro. I remember I used to go home every day, put on LimeWire to get new music, bro. I think I can remember the songs I used to download on there. I knew it was Lil Wayne. It was a lot of Lil Wayne, bro. It was a lot of Lil Wayne songs I'm not gonna mention, but I remember one time I heard the police like driving outside my neighborhood, and this is when I used to be naive. I used to think like I thought police officers would track you on LimeWire. Like, they would come to your house and be like, "We know you were using LimeWire." He wasn't doing that. But like I thought a cop was near my house, so I shut off my computer, took it off, and like ran to my room because I was like, "Bro, I'm not about to go to jail just because of LimeWire."
But I like this song though. I need it though.
Yeah, bro. I used to love LimeWire. I used to use a thing called Eris. That was just like LimeWire. But then that started getting bad. That's I used to pirate, man. People used to pirate songs like crazy.
So
Yeah, it's
many
bad.
songs.
It was bad.
Yeah, no more.
Anything else in that technology?
Sidekicks.
I think
dude.
blog sidekicks, chocolates.
Shit, chocolates.
Chocolates. What about
It's a
chocolate?
phone.
What?
Nobody.
Nobody was.
No.
No, that's
Nobody
a
had-
booty
I don't know
thing.
about y'all,
That's a
but
booty thing.
it is a buoy thing. When everybody
Exactly.
started getting chocolates, I wanted the chocolate.
Chocolate. What is
No.
that? What's
It's a
that, bro?
phone, bro.
That sound very sweet, like Hershey's. You got a Hershey
Hey,
phone.
chill out.
No,
Reese's.
everybody. No. So you said chocolate. Everybody had the. Well, I was okay. So I was in Nigeria. So like in Nigeria, we had like the Razor. Did you guys have the Razor?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
For
Razor
that,
too.
the Motorola joint. We had the Sidekick. That joint came out in 2008, 2009. Yeah, bro. We had them joints. We didn't have the chocolate joints.
Yeah,
Hey,
bro.
no, y'all remember the Boost Mobile, the little Boost walkie-talkie joints?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hear me now?
Yeah, Boost joint. I don't know. For me, with technology, the reason I pick our generation is not so. I'm gonna give a disclaimer. I'm a very old young man. Like, I can honestly say this: I can live in the '70s. I can honestly say that I can personally live in the '70s and be perfectly content. Only thing I wouldn't be content with is like the TV quality, because like if you look at NFL games back in the '70s, it's garbage.
Not the
It's
best.
very, very garbage. No, it's not even best. It's garbage compared to now. But other than that, I think I'd be pretty good. But like the reason why I don't like today's technology, like it comes a point in time like when is enough enough? Like how much stuff do we really, really need? And like the negative effects, I looked this up. One, I knew this from Jump Street. Number one, kids don't play outside anymore. Like number
Yeah.
two is the lack of human interaction. Three, your social skills. Your social skills are lost. Like I never forget, like my ninth grade teacher, Miss Fitzpatrick. I forgot what class she taught in high school. It was like information technology, something like that. And what she said was true. She said, "Stop walking around with earphones in your ear all the time. It's going to ruin your social skills." And like too much technology, like it somewhat puts you in like a box. Like you may be there in person, but like with your phone, it's like you're isolated at the same. Like you're there, but you're also isolated at the same time. Also with social media, we didn't get social media yet. Also, yeah, and it's lazy just makes you fat. The one thing that made me the most mad was the hoverboard. It got to the point like y'all that lazy not to walk. It's not like it was. It's not like it was a motorbike or a scooter. You only going with 10 miles an hour, so you too lazy not to walk. Like
You're not even going any faster, bro.
exactly. I truly do believe this. If we were to live long enough, we would live. It would be like Wall-E. I don't know if y'all seen the movie Wall-E, when they were stuck on the spaceship and got fat, and they had like a chair. They did it. Everything was done. Technology did everything for them, and so they were just sitting down getting fat. We would get like that if things didn't end. And that movie is also might be better, Lion King, but that's another day.
So the 2010s have a lot of. Personally, I prefer the 2010s technology. Like just the technology. Like I don't know, I'm a technology person, and like number one, like AirDrop with the iPhone. AirDrop is too clutch.
Yeah,
For me,
it's
personally, it's
gel
too
lit.
clutch. If I'm doing any type of work, I'm more than likely using AirDrop. And for those who don't use AirDrop often, it's when you have Bluetooth, you can send files or photos, or you can send multimedia things through Apple devices. So I can send it to my lap because I have a Mac Pro, so I can send it to my Mac, I can send it to my iPhone, things of the nature, and just go back and forth quickly, or send things to another uh, Apple user just easily. As long as my Bluetooth is on and you come up on my AirDrop as a contact, I can send you something and it comes up in a few seconds.
Yeah,
Um,
I think another part of technology that's really good in the 2010s is like the delivery services like Instacart, DoorDash.
Oh, that's a
See,
good point.
here's the
That's a really
thing.
good
Here's the
point.
thing. Like, but not only does it make it convenient to get stuff, especially now in like the pandemic that we're currently in, it also provides a lot of job opportunities for people. So you didn't have that back in the 2000s or
yeah.
the 1990s. So
I agree.
Yeah,
I think I kind of agree with Silber's point. Like we do have a lot of like beneficial things, like things that help. But I think we're definitely getting into a realm of like a lot of laziness. People can deliver food for you. Like now we don't have to go out and drive our cars and actually go to the place. Now we can just literally stay home. And of course, in quarantine, it's perfect. But outside of that, it's kind of like you're not as actionable as you used to be, which can lead into, you know, of course, like not
And
being
also,
healthy.
Justin, what you said as far as like jobs, one can argue that technology is also taking away jobs. Let's look at fast food spots, or even grocery stores or other places like that. Self checkout. So instead of an actual person making a good, somewhat of a living wage or something like that, help out their family, you have a robot to do it. So it's pros and cons to it. You know, I don't like it too much.
Yeah.
But I would also say, just I think Silver mentioned this point earlier as well, like the human interactions. Like think about the way we used to play. Well, we're gonna get into this, or maybe we can just kind of like jump into this since I'm gonna mention this point. Think about like how we used to play games back in the day. Remember how like when we wanted to play games with our friends, we would actually go to their house, or they would come to our house. We would meet up, we would link up to play games. But now you can play games from anywhere. You can play it from you can play games in China and be playing with someone in the USA. Like there's no bounds to it, and like it eliminates that, you know, human interaction. But although like people can definitely like, you know, meet people from different backgrounds, different, you know, countries, and, you know, kind of you know, gotta get a understanding. Well, you know, use that as a platform. Not everybody does, but use that as a platform to like, you know, get to know people from different, you know, cultures and countries and whatnot. But why don't we get into games, since I mentioned it? So what about games?
Which one would you prefer though?
Which one would I? Are you talking about games?
No, which one? When it comes to technology, which one would you personally prefer?
Okay, so I guess we can all go around and say that. So I would prefer, in my opinion, I agree with Brian. This, like the Gen Alpha's technology is definitely, I would prefer it. At least for me. For me, I prefer it.
Silver?
How about you, Silver?
Oh, 2000s. You know, 2000s. Yeah, I like human interaction. 2000s.
I would say my. Oh, Brian, go ahead.
Oh, I already said, 2000.
Oh yeah, he already said it.
2010. You know, I'm not trying to say nothing. You know what I'm saying? I just want to ask, what year are your phones created? That's all.
Hey, chill out. To be honest, I prefer Generation Z to 2000s. I was content. So.
Okay. All right. So what about games? Since I already talked about games a little bit, what were some good and bad things about games in our generation and also in the next generation? What are you guys thoughts on that?
The only bad thing I can think of as far as our games, well, until like the later part, because I know I used to play like my very first system that I remember playing was maybe this Nintendo 64, Dreamcast, PS1, and we didn't really get online. I think PS2 may have had online toward the later years. Oh, even Xbox 360, it had online. But like I would say this, the main thing.
I know.
You said what?
I said I didn't know that.
I think PS2 had online. If I'm not mistaken, had online like somewhat later before it kind of went out of style a little bit. But I think you had to have like an Ethernet cord and stuff like that.
You needed a plug.
Yeah, we didn't feel like doing all that work. So that's the only bad thing I can think about now. Concerning now, like some games don't age well, but the replay value is still amazing. Like the replay value is still amazing. I can think of pretty much dozens of games right now that if I had a PS2, I would play right now. As a matter of fact, even a PS3. What year did PS3 come out?
I think that was 09. In our generation, yeah, like 05, okay. 06 around.
No, it was like 09. That's when
it came out way before that.
No, because the very first game I got with a PS3 was Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, boy, that was you, boy.
Yeah, that's what
came out before that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So, yeah.
Somebody can search that up real quick.
It came out 2005, 6, bro.
No, no, PS3 did not come out in 05. No.
Oh, my gosh.
It came out like 09.
Anywho, all right, go ahead and make your point.
Anywho, but, yeah. So, I would think I would prefer our games because the replay value is still amazing. Like, I think any generation can play our games and be satisfied.
If you peep it, bro, they literally, like, be remaking the same games from our generation. Like a lot of the things that came out in our generation, like God of War, you had like Resident Evil, you had like Fallout, like all these
Crash
started Kingdom
Bandicoot.
Hearts, all these Crash Bandicoot, all these games started in our generation, and they just literally just been remaking the same games in the generation now. So like it's popular now, but it started in our generation.
I agree. I think some good games, and I'm thinking about all systems, but some good games like in this generation, like Generation Alpha, you can talk about Fortnite. You can talk about, because Fortnite is a very popular game, and you can even talk about like the evolution of like you know how like online game is a sport now. You can even talk about that. I think that's something good that came out of this generation. But also, I don't know if you guys remember like the iPhone games, Temple Run,
Yeah.
Flappy Bird.
Yeah.
Those were good games. games.
Isn't that our generation?
No. They came out in like
Nah, it's new
2011,
generation.
2012.
Run?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
It came out.
new generation.
New generation, bro. Yeah.
Personally, I think the newer generation, I think it has evolved when it came to games. I think games are more catered to people who want to play multiplayers and like certain type of story modes. But I think the replay value of games now aren't that much. Like there are not many games that come out now that you can ask like most gamers, and I'm just me talking to gamers that I can ask them like games that came out in the past couple years. What are their replay value? Most of them after they're done beating it, if there's no multiplayer or they get tired of the
Yeah,
multiplayer,
exactly.
who cares about that game now? Back then, we didn't have the advantage of multiplayer as much as they do now. So the games back then in the 2000s, people appreciated them for what they were, which was the story mode, which was the engagement in the game, the story mode, how to play it, like what to do in it, instead of like competing with people. Like you could compete with people, but that's if people came over your house and played the same game or
Exactly.
something like that. But that was fun, right? And I can name a whole bunch of games where it's like, man, like for example, anybody who likes Nintendo, Pokemon. All the Pokemon games from the 2000s are way better than the ones from 2010s and up. You know what I'm saying?
And
True.
I would think could this had happened? Because I know like back in the day, like it might be a WCW WWE situation, meaning that this like since it was more competition with more game systems, because like we had multiple game systems, we had Dreamcast, GameCube, Xbox, PS2. And so, like, if I look at WCW, like once WCW went out of business and WWE bought WCW, WWE kind of got lazy, and they kind of very, very got lazy with their storylines and so on and so forth. So I think, is it possible that today's games, since there's not much competition besides Xbox and PS3, like the trying isn't that hard sometimes? But that's my thought about it.
Yeah. So why don't we go around? What do you guys prefer? Gen Z games or Gen Alpha games? Josh, why don't I start with you?
I didn't mention these games, but just some call outs to the new generation games that are like OC tough. Like The Last of Us, great game. Detroit Becoming Human, great game. Injustice, great game. Watch Dogs, great game. Fortnite, don't like that game, but apparently it's a popular game, so I guess it's a good game. But even though they're good, those are good games, great games. I would still just pick our generation.
All right, really quickly, Silver. What do you think?
Oh, give me a PS2 right now, and I'm good.
Brian?
Our Generation Z games, I prefer them because there's just so many memories, like Dragon Ball Z Budokai, Halo when it was first released, Gears of War early on. I don't remember when the first Gears of War game, but I think it was early on, and Gears of War was really
our generation.
Too. Just a lot of these games, Pokemon was lit back in the day, like. Just a lot of games were like a lot of Dragon Ball Z games. They're just very memorable and like they were just really good games. And
I would definitely also prefer our generation. Like there's so many. PS2, I think that's probably one of the highest. Like their games sold most out of all the systems that are out today.
Yeah.
I was watching a video about that, which is interesting. All right, so why don't we move on to social media? Our generation, this generation, social media, pros, cons, what you guys like, what you guys don't like. What do you guys think?
We could compare that quickly. We could just the heavy hitters in social media realm in our days. MySpace, Facebook, and then now Instagram,
And Twitter.
Twitter came with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
It
I
came
think
out like
2000
08 or 09, something like that.
Yeah, 08 or 09.
Twitter was like 2000.
No, it came
Nah,
out
it's
with us.
08 or
I checked.
09.
No,
Mm.
yeah, Brian, it's our
It
turn.
could come out 2009, but like, let's be real. Twitter was mainly we didn't start using Twitter until we got to high school.
Hey, still ours though.
It's still
I'm
ours.
just gonna say, still ours though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but I think the new generation is what carried Twitter. Because I think
I
we
agree.
were over Twitter. Like, our generation was over Twitter. But I think the new generation kept Twitter, like, alive. Like, they're like, oh, no, we're going to keep Twitter. MySpace was tough. MySpace
I
was
was about
really
to say, don't come for MySpace like that, bro.
But Instagram, ain't nothing competing with Instagram. I don't even think Instagram's going to go anywhere until a new big heavy hitter social media platform comes out. Nothing's taking out Instagram. Instagram's probably going to be here for another, like, 5 years at least. Yeah. I don't see it going nowhere. 2030, it might be gone, but 2025, that joint's still going to be here.
But if you think about it, bro, MySpace and Facebook didn't have to do the things that like Instagram had to do, in my opinion. A lot of the things they kind of took from other social medias. You know what I'm saying? MySpace had its own thing where, you know, you had the, you know, wall, you can build your wall out, you know, you can add music to your joint. Like Facebook, you can never add music to Facebook. You know, it was just, you know, add your thoughts. You know, MySpace had more creativity. Like you can, you know, move things around. Instagram, it's just pictures. And they just started adding like filters, or more filters after Snapchat came out. So I don't know, bro.
I think the reason, and I'm gonna say it like now, I prefer the 2010s because I think the reason what makes Instagram reign supreme, it caters to a lot of people. People love sharing photos. They love sharing media in that sense. And the thing about Instagram, MySpace had like a layer of like, it wasn't as professional. It just had a lot of like teenagers using it. And even if you were trying to be professional on MySpace, it didn't have longevity. Like no one went to MySpace to be like, let me see your business. Some people may have did it, but probably not. Instagram,
No, you're right.
you can put anything on Instagram. You can do anything with Instagram. Twitter, you could do even more, but people prefer Instagram because of sharing photos. Like people love to share photos. Like it's just a thing. Like we love to capture memories more than anything. Rather than talking to people on something and saying our points and what we think about stuff and having a profile page, people prefer recording memories through photos and videos or clips.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I think it's all depending on. Let's look at their social media, 2010 and up social medias. Snapchat, TikTok, Vine, Instagram. Snapchat's pretty much dead, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
TikTok's gonna come and go. I think TikTok's gonna come and go because if Vine went out of business, TikTok is definitely not here to stay. And so Instagram, one thing I do appreciate about Instagram is that it has evolved since it first began with the whole DM process. And even though it kind of took from Snapchat, it was a pretty smart move on their part. But on all social medias, we had the main two heavy hitters that still stand is Facebook and Twitter. I'm including Twitter in our category because we made it. So I am being that petty. Yes. So if I look at it, would I want Facebook and Twitter or just Instagram? I'll take Facebook and Twitter than Instagram.
Facts. That's
so you
facts.
prefer. So both of you guys prefer our generations, right?
Definitely.
If we include Facebook and Twitter, yes, and Twitter, yes,
and Tumblr as well. Just throw that in. Tumblr was lit too.
That's true. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you guys are right, but I feel like maybe okay when I'm looking at Instagram, like when I'm thinking of preferring like the 2010s simply because of Instagram, uh, not because of the other social media, but simply like Instagram is the only social media that I think it's because it reigns to me. It reigns supreme above all social medias. Like it has the best like reach. Uh, it doesn't seem like it, but I think it has the most reach, and it's the most innovative. Like it has more chance of evolving than all the other platforms. Like Instagram can stay around for a while everything else can start like being like getting dry. I don't even mess with this no more.
I agree. And so since Josh and Silbert and Brian, since you guys mentioned what you preferred, I'm gonna just say this, and we're gonna move on. I think a lot of the reasons why people still use Facebook and Twitter, obviously Instagram is just great, but the reasons why a lot of people still use Facebook and Twitter today is because of the innovations that were made in this generation. So I'll just make that point, and that'll give me the reason to say I prefer social media in this generation. But
Can I mention an honorable mention?
Yeah, go ahead.
Pinterest. I just want to make sure people know like Pinterest in this generation is awesome. But go ahead.
Definitely. All right. So what about music? What you guys think about music?
That's not even a conversation.
I'll say this. I think the music today is definitely different. But the innovation to it is also should be recognized as well. Like Chief Keef and them, man. Like Kendrick Lamar and them, man. Who else came out in this generation? Like there are so many hits. Even some of like the albums. Like, and obviously I don't listen to this music anymore. But even like a lot of good albums came out in that 2010, 2012 era, J. Cole and them guys. And even I'll say this, the music that we listen today came out in this generation. So I'll just leave it at that.
Yes, but okay. I wanna touch on this. I just thought about this, right?
I'm not saying that it's better. I'm just saying that those are points. Those are points that we should consider.
The interesting thing about the difference between music in the 2010s up in the 2000s is that the genres have pretty much been the exact same for the past 2 decades. There hasn't been any really new genres that came out. There have been many new subgenres, right? But in terms of the main genres, those have remained the same. So now my opinion would be different because I'd be judging it based on new genres versus previously old genres. But if we're gonna touch on a few genres that's been around for like more than like a couple decades, like hip hop, the hip hop genre hasn't really changed. And I think, to be honest, there are a lot of cool things that happen in the hip hop genre. I'm gonna talk about hip hop because that's closer to what I like, right? There are a lot of things that change in hip hop, and I think as we grow older as hip hop, like I think everybody's gonna prefer their generation of hip hop than the new one because there's always these new subgenres that are coming up that are making hip hop sound different, right? If you put in hip hop now from 2010s to now, it don't sound the same as 2000s hip hop. And 2000s hip hop somewhat don't sound the same as 90s hip hop. It's completely different types of hip hop. But I prefer, in terms of that genre, in the 2000s, and I think a lot of genre R&B now. To be honest, like what artist R&B wise is really doing anything? Like really, particularly, like what artists do we know R&B that wasn't hot in the 2000s? And we could be like, yo, this person is hot. This person is the thing. R&B is lit. Ooh,
the only reason the
there's
August
good ones, but they're not.
With your point, Brian, as far as the R&B person, I was about to say the only reason why August Alsina is kind of like even popping could be because of the entanglement.
Exactly. And he's not. And the thing is, he's not a bad artist. He's actually a decent R&B artist. But back in the day, R&B like Usher, when Chris Brown in his prime, like Chris Brown back in
Holiday,
Neo
rapping on beats now. Chris Brown, like before all the tats, like, you know what I'm saying? Chris Brown was
Heavy
that.
hitters.
Who else?
Yeah.
R. Kelly.
Art. R. Kelly. Hey,
Even though he's canceled.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my fault. I forgot about that.
Omarion back in the day, you know, Omarion.
Omarion.
Oh, that's
B2K.
true. B2K and them guys. Oh, snap.
Pretty Ricky a little bit. I don't know.
Remember, y'all remember
Oh.
the Dream? The Dream?
The
Oh, the
Dream.
Dream. Dang.
Who else?
The Dream was tough.
Yeah, he was.
Neo was pretty decent, man. Like, what about the females? Like, would you consider Alicia Keys R&B? No.
Yeah. Is she?
Yeah, to a certain, yeah, you could.
Alicia Keys, bruh? Come on, no one's touching her.
Lauryn Hill. Would you consider R&B?
He was like hip hop, but like,
Yeah,
you know what
but
I'm saying? Like, bruh, 2000s, bruh, they had too many people that were just tough.
And it was more
Yeah.
and it was more original. The thing which I don't like about this generation of this music, it's like, and this also included with also technology, could also put this in that category. Since everyone has an iPad and a music, an iPad and with GarageBand or some other app, like, the music field is so oversaturated with trash rappers, bro. So
That's
to
so
even
true,
find
bruh.
to even find a good rapper, you have to like search high and low. So even back in the day, like, to get signed on a record label, you had to be good and do some other things. By the way, can't say it right now, but you had to at least be good to be on the radio. But now it's like, even with now, I hear this. It's like this. But scratch that. When I say when I'm judging, because what Pedro, I can't say last name. What Justin said what Justin said was true as far as like the 2010 is also incorporating our music. I'm talking about from like 2015 until now. Like, it's all the music is pretty much the same beat. It sounds like the same beat, and it sounds so debased. There's no such thing as positivity on the radio. Like, what did Kanye West say in Jesus Walks? They say we can talk about anything except for Jesus. That means guns. It said gun, sex. He said gun, sex, lies, and video tapes. But I talk about God, my record won't get played. But that's not even just concerning God. It's concerning any positive at all, bro. Like, think, where's the Lupe Fiasco? What happened to him? What happened to anything positive, uplifting? Everything is just debased, money, sex, girls, a WAP.
I think the thing is, the funny thing, and I'm gonna go back into hip hop. Rappers have always been like that, but like in 2010, and I know we're gonna try to move on, but I feel like I want to stress it. In the 2000s, the top 10 rappers, or not even top 20 rappers in the 2000s compared to now, even if you prefer the rappers now, you can't tell me they hold a candle to the rappers then.
Yeah, they
Like
did.
back, like in 2000 rappers, like you had
Lil Wayne.
Jay-Z was still 2000, so we can say Jay-Z. Kanye West then compared to now, that's a big difference. Lil Wayne,
Nicki Minaj, Drake.
even Nicki and Drake were like Drake. I mean, Drake's still that dude. Drake is just always gonna be good.
Compared to his old stuff,
Eminem.
different levels.
Drake doesn't have
But no. But Josh, Drake is like,
Drake is back then though, so it's like Drake,
and he's still in this generation. To be
so
honest,
Drake doesn't have a drop off. Let's just say that. He just
Eminem.
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 You got who else, bro? Like you got T.I.
Ludacris.
Yeah, Tip.
Ludacris.
Ludacris.
T-Pain.
Wait, Snoop Dogg?
T-Pain.
So you know.
Snoop Dogg is in my book, he's one of the most overrated rappers I've ever heard in my life. Like,
Snoop
it's
Dogg was
Overrated? No, I don't think he's overrated.
yes, he is. Yes, he
People
is.
know. People
No,
know
no,
he
no.
doesn't.
Take away. No. His personality is.
I don't
right
want to
in
get into
front
talk about Snoop
of my
Dogg.
fault. But his rapping ability is not that tough, bro. They're not.
You
At
had
all.
Nas. You had, even though Nas and Jay-Z started in like in the 90s, a lot of these rappers started in like late 90s or like mid 90s.
Kid Cudi.
Kid Cudi.
You know what I'm saying? Like these rappers were like, they had hits on hits. Like if you listen to hip hop, everyone would agree these are the rappers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Also quickly mention as well as Christian rappers like KB, Derek Minor, Bizzle, Shylin, all our generation. Continue, Brother Brian.
you said they're our generation.
Yeah, our
Oh,
generation.
really?
Yeah.
Well, I knew Shaolin. I didn't know the rest of them.
Personally, Christian rap sounds better now.
Yeah, it
I
does.
prefer
Yes.
Christian rapper now
Yes.
than I did back then. Even
Yeah,
though there are
that's
artists
true.
back then that I
That's true.
appreciate and think they had a lot of skill because they didn't have the production and all that. But like now, the music is a lot better now.
But are we all agreeing that we prefer our generation's music than this joint?
Yes.
Nah.
In general, for the most part, yes. Because 2010, bro,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of good music in 2010 to now. Like, let's not
Yeah,
fake.
definitely.
No.
In terms of like the wide range of like the nostalgia, like the hits,
Mhm.
the artists that were like hot during that time, I appreciate and like them more in the 2000s than I did in this past decade.
Silver, you
Well-
also agree?
Sorry.
If we talking about like saved music, I would say 2010. But if we talking about secular,
Oh, yeah.
2000, it's not even. We didn't even say 50 Cent or Nelly with the hits they got.
You forget about them.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
very
we
true.
really forgot about them.
Come on, like they were making hits, man.
And think about one last thing: our hits that we have back almost 20 years ago, they're still popular today. What's it called?
People still play
Yeah.
the money.
Even when we went to UMES and it was like a party outside, they were still playing Cash Money records taking over from 1999 to 2000.
It's facts.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we're gonna get to our last joint, our last category, which is the category that we also talked about last week, cartoons. What you guys think?
Did you peep? Did you peep though? Like last time, most of the cartoons, except for Avatar, originated from the old generation.
Like what? What are you talking about?
So was Avatar?
Like the top Avatar is 2010, so it's technically in their generation.
Avatar: The Last Airbender?
No. It's
Yes.
2005. It's
Avatar was
2005.
05.
2006,
It's
bro.
05,
Are you sure?
boy.
It was 05.
Yes.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes.
You talking about
It
Korra?
was 05. That's
You
cool.
talking
Yes.
They can
That's
keep
Korra. Yes. That's
You
Korra.
don't have to combine them. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I may have did the movie. I may have researched the
I
movie.
was
on
like,
accident.
Josh, are you tripping, bro?
Okay, so every top five was from our
ours.
generation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
it wasn't 90s best cartoons. It was just cartoons in general. So that's
mean,
one.
No.
We could be a little biased with a lot of these things. You
That's
know,
true, that's
everybody has
true.
their bias. But like, if we really wanted to bring like, some criteria to this and some things that we're looking at, right? And the eye test, the listening test to a lot of these things. I think a lot of people will agree the 2000s had a lot of stuff that just sits better with you, right? Because a lot of stuff that are now, no one's gonna remember them in 2030. But I guess what? In the 2000s, people probably still gonna be talking about the joints from 2000 to 2030. By the 2020 shows, where the heck, we're not gonna talk about that stuff. No one's gonna talk about that stuff. That stuff it's no replay value.
Yeah, it's just different. I don't know. Just thinking about like some of their cartoons, like Uncle Grandpa, like Adventure. I mean, Adventure Time is
Adventure was
cool,
pretty
but
good.
it's cool. But come on, like, are we gonna
Gravity
bring
Falls.
like all these joints? It's
Like-
just
You
weird.
can rank Adventure Time to some stuff though.
It's just a weird.
Can I be honest?
It's just
Can I be
weird.
honest with you, bro? In our top five list that we made last week, it's about 30 other tough cartoons that we had, good solid cartoons that we had, even on PBS. We didn't even name Chalk Zone, Danny Phantom, American Dragon, Jimmy Neutron, Fairly Odd Parents,
Arthur.
Arthur, Clifford,
Wait, SpongeBob?
freaking Kids the James on Kids WB, Batman Begins, Sonic X. I can go on and on and on. There's no way in Davy Jones' Locker. No way. Because we have a plethora, an absolute plethora of good solid cartoons that we can watch. My dude, I can't name none of these. After I tried watching them, I can't do it. And it's not because I'm an adult. It's the fact that they don't even entertain me anymore. Even the new SpongeBob is garbage. Trash.
I'll say this. I think a lot of their shows in Gen Alpha, they're more funny. Or not more funny, but it's more, you'll see more shows that are more focused on comedic value versus like, seriousness or you know, something that's more like, you know, thinkative. And I think that's something that, you know, this generation may value more. That's why you have TikToks, more, you know, more entertainment, more funny, more comedic, versus our generation. We had like, you know, I don't say comparison, but I think we just value two different things.
Yeah, I
I think
agree.
today's generation, like the 2010s, like shows, some of the humor in some ways is better because there's some humor points. Not to say they were funnier, but there's some humor things like the humor nowadays is like weird humor, like it's
Hmm.
weird, like
Yeah.
off the cuff, like what the heck is going on humor. Back then it was more like things are going on that's funny, like things are like catchphrases, or like if we think about our cartoons, a lot of the things we remember are moments and catchphrases,
Hmm.
while the new generation is a lot of like weird moments, like moments that you look at and be like, what the heck is going on? Like even cartoons that I would say that are decent or that are good from the 2010s to now, that I would say are good, the things I remember about them are the weird moments in them that were funny.
Hmm.
Like I'd be like, yo, this thing, like Adventure Time or a regular show or whatever good cartoon that's out now in this
Your
generation,
mom.
they're funny. The only funny moments about them is when they say weird, like wild stuff, like when they do wild things, like they just I don't know, like yeah,
Yeah,
like
the
regular
art behind. Yeah, I agree. The art behind it, even like Gumball, like I was gonna mention regular show as well. Like the art behind it is definitely different, but it's definitely is brilliant. Like the humor
Yeah, it
is
is.
really brilliant, and so I wouldn't. I mean, me personally, like obviously it's because I'm in a different generation. Like I wouldn't appeal to it, but I see the art behind it, and I see the brilliance behind it. So
I
The
would
regular
say
show is
this.
hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna lie. I was originally mad at Teen Titans Go because like of the disrespect that I thought I had towards the original Teen Titans. But I'm not gonna lie, that show is pretty funny. I can't even lie. That show is pretty funny. Especially when Beast Boy be making his music videos. That Jane be hilarious, bro. So
yeah. I think the Dow shows some of them like have good humor. It's just that I think in the 2000, I think it's more hit and miss now. It's a lot more hit
mhm.
and miss, and
Yeah.
the shows aren't as they don't carry the same level of gravity like as the shows back then. Like the shows back then were just heavy hitters. Like
Mhm.
it just shows like that's why like and we notice because look at Nick wants to come back and replay all their old cartoons. Why? Because they know that there are people that rather would watch that than the stuff they're dropping now.
Mm. That's true. That's
I
true.
would say this, bro. I think that in this generation, the shows that we mentioned will be considered heavy hitters because like there's something that brings a lot of like funny value. Like Teen Titans Go. I hear Teen Titans Go everywhere I go nowadays. Like um, you know,
Regular show.
the Rick and Morty. Like people love Rick and Morty. The regular show, Adventure Time. Like people talk about it. You know
But
what I'm
that's a
saying? So
couple.
you said what?
Yeah, that's just a couple.
The joints
That's
we
true.
had,
Yeah, that's
bro,
the
we had like
thing.
30.
so much.
We didn't even say the educational TV shows like the Magic School Bus and Captain Planet.
To be fair, I think obviously we can talk about a lot of our joints because we were kids back then and we're not kids now. And so I'm even like struggling to think of cartoons in general. Like not even just the good joints. I'm just struggling to think of many of the cartoons that
Yeah.
are now. So it's obviously very biased because we're different. We're of a different generation, um but yeah, I was definitely struggling to think of some
And matter of fact,
cartoons.
even concerning this, like how many movie like concerning this, right? How many movies that in the movie theaters are about cartoons now? I think about how many movies that made the movie theaters based off our cartoons. We had the Rugrats movie, Jimmy Neutron movie, in actual theaters. What else we had? We had something
Teen
else. I can't.
Titans.
Yeah,
Teen Titans movie had a.
it was in theaters.
Yeah, it was in theaters.
We had Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually made theaters. Like I can't imagine some of these cartoons actually making it into theaters because of that big of a following. I can't see that happening.
Like
Yeah,
it's
because I was just gonna say because the art is different, like the
It has nothing to do
creation
with
of.
art, just entertainment. Just entertainment.
No, but like most of those cartoons that you mentioned, like they actually had like storylines, and that was what was really appealing to us. Kind of like what Brian was saying. What Josh was saying. That was what was appealing to us. Now, like we weren't seeing, we weren't seeing a lot of movies of those miscellaneous shows.
Rugrats is miscellaneous.
It was, yeah, but not a lot of them. But like Hey Arnold, I think you just said Teen Titans, Avatar, like all them joints there, they had a storyline, and I don't think they really make those kind of cartoons now.
Storyline than the ones back then.
You think so?
I think a lot of shows that we used to watch were a lot of miscellaneous like type of shows. Nowadays, there's
Not a lot though.
But a lot of shows now are following like a miscellaneous plot. Like they're following a plot, in my opinion, nowadays. And I don't know what it is, but I think even like if you talk to kids now, like how passionately can they talk about 10 cartoons? Let them name drop 10 cartoons or talk passionately about 10 of those cartoons. They'll probably only talk passionately about 2. Because they realize, there are 10 cartoons that I can name, but they don't care about the other 8, really. Right? They're going to have 2 joints that they like. Us, we can name 15, 20 and talk passionately about them all on the same level.
I wonder if it's because it's nostalgic value though.
It is, but
I think
how do kids not at their age, like not to make it long, but like when we were at their age, we could talk about these cartoons the same way we talk about them now.
Good point.
We were talking about them that way when they were out.
Yeah.
They can't do that. Like I talk to kids, they'll be like, "Oh, just Adventure Time. Oh, just regular show. Oh, just Rick and Morty." They only name one show that they like. We were naming like, "Oh, dang, all these shows is tough." Like they not doing that because they're like, I don't even like a lot that many shows.
And it's not about nostalgia. It's all about quality. Like we can help. Like I'm not. Of course, it may sound biased, but 2 things can be true at the same time as far as quality. And so, like, and for example, Saturday morning cartoons, me personally, as far as when Kids WB came on, like you would watch from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock. I don't know if y'all did the same thing, but like youngest used to be pressed for Saturday morning cartoons.
Yep.
And every day, the next day or next Monday at school, we would talk about what happened on Yu-Gi-Oh or something like that, or One Piece or whatever.
It's true. Yeah.
So, one word answer. I would prefer obviously our generation's cartoons. Josh, what about you?
Gen Z.
One word answer. Okay. Silver.
You heard what I said.
Okay, Brian.
One
word, bro. One word.
Our cartoons. That's what I'm saying. 2000 cartoons.
Okay.
2000
Okay.
cartoons.
All right, cool. So I hope that was interesting and informative for you guys as well. Funny, hopefully. You can email us if our email is going to be in the description. And definitely try and join the conversation somehow. But we're going to step into our last segment of the podcast, and it's a quote. So we're going to end off each podcast session with a quote. And so I'm going to hand it off to Josh because he has our quote for this podcast.
So this quote comes from C.S. Lewis, a powerful writer. And so the quote says, "True humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking of yourself less." So think of yourself less. Don't think of yourself less. If that makes sense. But yeah.
Cool. So, all right. So I hope that inspired some of you guys. Hopefully you did. If it didn't, definitely re-listen to it again to get some inspiration. But yeah, that's it for today's episode. A bit extensive, but hopefully you guys enjoyed the content that's behind it. And that's it for us today. So see you guys next time.
Yeah, I know you heard of us.
Yeah.
And I know you heard of me.
Huh?
Also, you heard of us.
Yeah.
Hey, but you ain't heard of me. My name